Our speaker now, Lissa Duty. Lissa Duty is a branding and digital marketing strategist, the author of 2 social media books. She has written countless articles and guides, some of which are published under the names of others. Her digital marketing agency, Rocks Digital Marketing, helps businesses to rank in the top of search results. Web development, local SEO, and Google My Business optimizations are only a few of the services the agency performs each day. In addition, Lissa is founder of one of the largest digital marketing conferences in Texas, the Rocks Digital Marketing Conference. From advising to implementing, Lissa is the digital marketing pro every business wants on their speed dial. So Lissa, so glad to have you here today.
Hey everyone, how are y'all doing? I'm very excited to get to talk with y'all today. I think is this my second or third time getting to talk with y'all over the years?
I think it's the second.
Every time I get the opportunity, I absolutely love it. And so today, because we're going to talk a pretty technical topic, we're going to talk about SEO, and where it gets technical is I'm going to walk y'all through an audit of a website. And so this is going to help all of y'all know how to look at your websites, the businesses you work for, et cetera, and help them to rank higher in search results. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. Really quickly, I wanted to ask, what time should I make sure I'm wrapped up on this so that we have time for questions?
I would say between 8:40 and 8:45, Lisa, and then that'll give us the last 15 to 20 minutes.
Sounds good. I just wanted to double check so I don't go over too long. So I'm going to start sharing my screen now, and we're going to dig into this. Okay, so it's really hard when you're doing an audit. I don't want to expose one of my clients, and I don't want any businesses to feel criticized. And so I'm going to audit my own website for y'all. And I have to tell y'all, I've been looking at it and I'm quite disappointed in myself. I'm sure that all of y'all have heard the phrase, the cobbler's children have no shoes. Well, in this case, Rocks Digital is the children. I say it's always been my baby, so I guess it works out well that I say that. So here is the homepage for Rocks Digital. Now I have ran what's called a screaming frog crawl, okay? And this is a tool that y'all can use. Now we have the pro version, but you can actually use the free version, and it'll crawl y'all's websites up to 500 links. Okay, and so it's Screaming Frog, and their website URL, I didn't actually bring it up, but it's screamingfrog.co.uk, I believe. They are an actual UK-based business. And so I've ran a crawl of my website, and if y'all look here, y'all can see that it's actually still crawling my site. It's actually at 77% complete. I wanted to have y'all real-time data, and I wanted y'all to see it working its magic completely. So it's still crawling my site. It actually works usually really faster than that, but Rocks Digital happens to be a massively large website. And so the things that you're going to be able to extract from your Screaming Frog crawl is you're going to be able to see the page title for every page on your website. And this is the page titles tab. I'm in here. You're going to be able to see the meta descriptions for every page on your website. Okay, so you can see I have some blanks in here. You're going to be able to see the H1 that is on every page of your website or your clients. H2, you can see image alts, etc. The thing that we're going to focus on today is page titles, meta descriptions, your H1s and H2s. You can actually even see in the content section how easy it is for somebody to actually read your content. So here you can see it's fairly easy, normal, fairly easy. When you write, you want to make your content, even if you have a very complicated topic that you're discussing, you always want to make sure you're speaking to your audience. Okay. And so let's start by looking at page titles. Okay. So here are the page titles for Rocks Digital, and they're kind of in alphabetical order here. We're going to hone in on the page titles and you can actually export this list, by the way. I didn't do it for the sake of this because I wanted y'all to see it in real time, but you can actually export this data out. So we're just going to look at this page right here. This link that I've highlighted here is website development, and it specifically talks about our mobile responsive website design page. And this is the page title for it, Quality Mobile Responsive Website Services. Now, just so we're all clear on what a page title is and where it displays in search, I brought up an example for y'all. So you can go to Google and you can do site, and you can put in the URL for any page, and you can see what Google is actually showing to searchers. And so I took this URL off the website. It's the Rocks Digital Web Development page, which is this page right here. This is the URL, okay? And I dropped it in a site search. And I searched site and I colon and no spaces, and I dropped in the URL. Now, right here, and I blew up my screen a little bit so y'all could see it better here. I can't blow up Screaming Frog, but I can actually blow up search results. And so here it is, and you can see here is the page title for the website development page. Here is the page title for the mobile responsive page, Quality Mobile Responsive Services. And then you can see meta descriptions that are underneath it, okay? So let's go back to the Screaming Frog crawl here, okay? So here is the page title, Quality Mobile Website or Responsive Website Services, okay? And this is line 39. Now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to look at the meta description for line 39. And you can see here, it says, looking to build a mobile responsive website, Rocks Digital creates high quality, custom mobile, blah, blah, blah. Y'all get the idea, right? And so this is what your meta description is. Now, there's some things that you really want to consider when you're doing this, okay? And that is that Google will, on multiple occasions, rewrite your page titles and even your meta descriptions, okay? Now, this meta description is actually a little bit long. It shows that it's 163 characters. A meta description should actually be 155 characters or less. And so I know in looking at this report that I need to get this meta description fixed. It is too long. It should be no more than 155 characters, including spaces. Now, this meta description that's for the blog, this is the perfect length. It's 149 characters, including spaces. This one on the privacy policy page is 151, etc. Here is one that is too long, okay? And so it's very important to remember that whenever you are writing your page titles or auditing your page titles, you want to look at the link in addition to what it says in your meta description. Okay, now I'm going to go back to search results, and you can see what I have right here for the web design page. You can see the mobile design. So do you see how I said it was a little bit long? And so it truncates, it has the ... here. That's because the meta description is too long for this specific page, okay? And so what happens when your meta description is too long, a couple of different things will happen. Either Google will rewrite its own meta description for that page on your website or your business site or whoever it is for, or it will do this ... approach in search results. This does not look great to the user, and this is something that you would want to address, okay? And so I consider page titles and meta descriptions the low-hanging fruit when it comes to SEO, okay? So just to give y'all a little bit of basics, and I know this is super geeky, I want to step back a little bit for you, okay? Now, I have a page up here. This is the web design and web development page on the Rocks Digital's website, okay? You have a page title, which shows right here in the tab, and you can see right here, here's the page title, super small, but I want to show it to y'all. It says Top Web Design and Web Development Services. That is the actual page title for this page, and it displays in search results, okay? It's very important for SEO purposes that you include keywords in your page title. Google actually uses that to determine the relevance of your page in search results, okay? So you really want to focus in on your page titles, and you want to make sure it has the keywords for your product or your services, okay? And now something else that you want to consider is you don't want to have duplicate page titles on your website. So you don't want to go through and have the same page title for every page either. Okay. You want to have every one be unique. And so here is the page title for this page. Now, this is the mobile responsive page. Okay. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. And you can, if I hover over it in the right place, you can see the page title for this is Quality Mobile Responsive Website Services. Okay. Now you want to think about keywords and you want to think about what the user would search when you write a page title. So people, when they search, they might actually search Quality Mobile Responsive Website or Quality Mobile Responsive Services or something along those lines. So you want to include those specific keywords in your page titles. Okay. Now, you also want to include them in what's called your H1s on your page. And I want y'all to think of this like you're writing an essay, right? And your H1 is the main, is the title of your essay. You can consider it the same for your page title too. So your H1 is the title of your essay. And then underneath that, you have what's considered H2s. Okay. So whatever you have on your individual pages on your website, your H2s should support the topic of your essay. So they should have the keywords within that. So you're going to notice if you look at our page title, okay, we had, and I'm trying to get it to pop up for y'all again. It had website design and web development, and it also had the word services in it. Okay. So we actually used for this specific page, the same page title and H1, which is totally fine with Google to do that. Okay. And then this is an H2, and we also have our keywords in it, website design and development. Okay. And here again, website design and development. Now, what I want you to notice is we've added other kind of keywords within there. Somebody might actually search help with website design and development with the word trust. Okay. And then here's quality websites. Okay. So this is an H1 on the page. This is an H2. This is an H3, I believe. Then this is an H2. And now we're going into H3s again. But what I want you to notice is the theme with each one of these: quality websites, mobile responsive website, custom web design, website revamp. We actually add logo design in here as part, even though it doesn't have our main keywords. For this specific page, we include it because a lot of people don't have a website. How to get started with a new website design. That's things people would search. And then we always add a Q&A section at the bottom of all of our content. And I highly recommend, if y'all are not doing this, that y'all add questions with an answer to on your website content. And then, so we also have these, and these are coded as H4s on the site, but we try to integrate our keywords in there and things that people would actually search. So that is, and I just wanted to go over with you quickly what a page title, an H1 and an H2. So I look deeper into this Screaming Frog audit. This will kind of make more sense for y'all. So now I'm going to go back to Screaming Frog. Okay. And so I showed you, so let's look at, and we started with the page title for the mobile responsive page. So we're going to look at the meta description, as I pointed out earlier, and it says it's 163 characters, including spaces. So this is a little long, which is why search results was truncating it. Okay. So, and you can, like I mentioned earlier, you can export all of this data through your Screaming Frog. It just happens to be that I didn't do it for the sake of this experiment. So let's look at the H1s. Okay, we're going to look at the H1 for line 39, since that's been the example, the website design mobile responsive. So here is the H1 mobile responsive websites that are the way to go. Okay, now I discovered today, again, remember, I'm auditing my own website here. I discovered today that there is an error in the code on my site that is a web development error that I'm actually going to get fixed. That just proves when you build your own site, when you're a web developer, you don't actually pay as much attention to your own build. I have two H1s on this site, and it's site wide. Okay, so this is my first H1 and this is my second H1, and it goes throughout the site. And so I have to get this issue fixed right away, because you only want on any page of your website, and this is site-wide. If I go through and I scroll through and I look at every page on the site, this is a site-wide issue. And it has 2 H1s on every page of the website. And I know that right away. So I'm going to get that fixed by my web developer. A lot of web developers will say that they specialize in SEO, but they really don't do it. At Rocks Digital, that is one of the things that we focus on really hard. And I can see here that there is an error in this website crawl. And so I'm going to get this fixed right away on this website so that I only have 1 H1 on every page of the website. I hate that it's like this, but I'm actually glad to get to show y'all this example, and that it actually is happening that way. Okay. As you can see on the blog, because these are all blog pages, so these are actual individual blog posts, and that's part of the issue, is the word Rocks Digital Blog is actually coded as an H1 versus the title for the blog. So I'm going to get that fixed too. Okay. So let's look at the H2s for line 39. Okay. So here are the H2s. Again, here's your H2. We build mobile responsive websites you'll love. And then we can build your mobile responsive website, because these are things people would search. Okay. And these are our H2s. And we have 2 H2s on the page. Okay. Right here and right here. Now, unfortunately, Screaming Frog will not pull your H3s for you. I wish they did, but they do not at this point. And so you can crawl your page titles, meta descriptions, your H2s, and you could see however many of them there are, and you can see the links for each one of them. And then you can also crawl your image names and see all the name of every image on the site. And I don't have my Screaming Frog configured to do this because normally my SEO runs these reports for me, but you can actually pull the image alt for every image on the site. Image alts are extremely important too. I'm not going to go into those today as much, because I just really wanted to give y'all a core of looking at Screaming Frog. Okay. And so you can download the free version and play around with it. If you're an agency or you do a lot of business with your clients where you help them work on their websites, maybe you're a content writer, then you might want to consider investing in the pro version, because this will really help you to sell clients on your services. So again, here is line 39. Here is the page title. Okay. And here is the page that matches that. Okay. Here's the H1. Okay. Here's your H2 that I showed y'all in the crawl. This is an H3, which is why it didn't show up in the report. This is an H3. It shows them what to expect. It has our keywords in it, mobile responsive website. And then here's our mobile responsive questions. And then here are questions we've nested for each one. And then you always want to, always, within your website content, at the bottom, you always want to include a closing CTA. It's a phone number and takes them to some kind of form where they can request help. Okay, you'll always want to include that. Another important thing that you want to do on your sites is you want to have internal linking. So you want to take your users on a journey when they're on your website. Okay, so if you could see here, web design and development, ideally we would link to our internal pages. And I can see here that my team did not do as good a job adding internal links on this specific page, but you always want to add internal links. So let's look at this page. Okay. So this is a different page on the site. This is the SEO. The SEO page. I'm wanting to show y'all internal linking. That's why I decided to go ahead and bring up another page here. And so you can see in here, here's a new website that we just built. Here's invest in local search, Google My Business claiming and optimization services. Those are called internal links. And you're going to see we have a CTA at the bottom, which is a phone number, and linking them to our online form. It's very important that you take your user on a journey throughout your website. So you want to have your H1s or your page titles and your meta descriptions, your H1s, your H2s optimized, your H3s, etc. Anytime that you apply an H1 or an H2 or an H3 or even an H4 on a page on your website. Okay. A lot of people will think, oh, well, I like the size of this on this page or the font, so I'm going to make this an H1 or an H2 or whatever, right? That's not how you want to think about doing SEO. Okay. If it doesn't include your keywords in it, then you do not want to apply an H1 or an H2 or an H3 or any of those heading classes, because that tells Google, okay, that these phrases support the content on this page. And if you don't have them right, it could negatively impact your SEO. So you always want to make sure that you have your H1s, H2s, H3s optimized for search. Now, one thing I did not mention earlier, okay, and I'm going to go back to Screaming Frog for a second, is the length of your page titles are extremely important. So you can see here, it shows you the length 71, right? So you want your page title to be no longer than 60 characters, including spaces. Now, that is before the pipe that I include, the space, and Rocks Digital. And so you just exclude that in your count for however many characters that is. And as long as you're less than 60, you're good. Okay. And again, I'm going to show y'all one more time. This is where Google displays your page titles. Sometimes Google will include the pipe in whatever your business name is. Sometimes they will not. They have been excluding that part of the business name more and more. They are always testing what's more compelling to people. So you're going to notice these links are in purple. These are because these are links that I've already clicked. The one in blue is because I haven't clicked from search results to that page. Okay. So now that I've kind of showed you page titles, meta descriptions, and if you didn't write down those numbers for me, write them down. Okay. 60 characters, including spaces, for page title. No more than 155 characters, including spaces, for a meta description. Okay. And I know I'm getting super geeky here, and I'm sorry. I hope I didn't lose y'all on that, but it's extremely important for SEO. And I also like to call this the low hanging fruit. So if you want to start by cleaning up your website really quickly and getting a bump in search results, and it's the first thing I do for all of my new SEO clients, is I go in and I rewrite all their page titles, because most of the time they do not have their keywords in them. So I go in, I rewrite all their page titles, and then I move on to their meta descriptions in most cases. Now, Google does not consider the keywords in your meta description as part of SEO. However, meta descriptions impact the click-through rate to your website. So if you have a good meta description, you're going to get more clicks to your website for a specific keyword phrase. And when you do that, you are then going to rank higher in search results, because Google's going to look at that page and go, hey, this page seems to be relevant to this specific search query, so I'm going to show it more in search results. And as that happens, then you'll get more traffic and greater visibility. Okay, so that is the first part of Screaming Frog page titles and meta descriptions. Okay, now I promised y'all I was going to show y'all some Google Search Console data, and so I wanted to show you that URL. It's developers.google.com/search. If y'all do not have Google Search Console set up on your website, then you can go to this URL, okay, and then at the very bottom, scroll down and click Search Console under Tools, okay, and then it's going to bring up Google Search Console for y'all. Now, if your website, or you don't have access to your website through Google Search Console, you are going to have to perform a few tricks, okay, and I've actually brought it up here already, okay. This is Google Search Console for Rocks Digital, okay. So I've brought it up here. If you have not added your website into Google Search Console, or you don't have access to it, but you know it's been created, you should ask your web developer, your SEO company, or whoever for that access, and they can add you as a user. It does have to be a Google email address in order to manage Google Analytics or Google Search Console for your site. Okay, so this is Google Search Console. So when you come into Google Search Console, you land on a page that looks like this. And I'm going to blow up this screen for y'all. You land on a page that looks like this. Okay. and you can kind of see your performance overall for your site by date, how many clicks you got. Like we can see on Sunday, I got 35 clicks to the site. Monday, I got 50. Last Tuesday, I got 70. Okay. Now, the section that I always like to go to is right to search results right here. Okay. And then I want to check average click-through rate and average position. Okay. And what this is showing you, okay, is your actual traffic for your site. And you can see the line. So right here, I can see how many impressions I got in search results on this specific day. So on Tuesday, May 9th, I got 6,969 impressions in search results. Now, that does not mean that many people visited my actual website. That means that's how many times Google actually showed my website in search results. Now, something for y'all to know is that does not mean the first page of search results either. It means all of search results. Okay. Now, I did get 70 clicks to my website from search results on May 9th. That makes a click-through rate of 1%. And my average position in search results for all the pages on my website is 43. Okay. Now, normally you might think, oh, 43, that's horrible. Well, the fact is there is about, there's over 1,000 blogs on Rocks Digital and quite a few pages. So there's probably about 1,500 to 1,800 pages on the website, which means averaging 43 is not that bad. I just want to throw that out there. Okay. So you want to look at this data and see what you can do. Now, I always screenshot this data for my clients on an ongoing basis. Okay. And so I have like a history that I could show. Are we getting better? Are we getting worse? Are we getting more clicks to our site? Are we getting more impressions? Are we getting less impressions? And I can see this over time. Okay. Now down here, I can actually see the queries that my website is ranking for specific terms, like for CMOS battery voltage. So something that Rocks Digital started as a digital marketing conference, as they introduced earlier, then we added a content site on there. And so we have over 1,000 blogs, and most of those are published by guest contributors on all sorts of topics that are digital marketing related. So CMOS battery voltage, we're actually ranking really high for that. We had 1,763 impressions in the last 3 months. Our average click-through was 7.2%, which is a really high click-through rate. And our average position in search results was basically first, second position for that phrase. And we got 127 clicks. Now, for all of y'all, I want y'all to understand, and we're actually working through the best way to tackle this, because now Rocks Digital shifted and we're more of an agency versus a content site. We do blog, but they're all topics that we're publishing about digital marketing or about our conference, right? So us ranking for CMOS battery voltage is not really important to us to do that. And so I would not focus on this as much, but I did want to show you so you would understand what this data looks like. And you can export this data from Google Search Console. Okay, you can just simply go here. Let me find it. Oh, right here. Here it is. And you just simply click export, and you can take it to a Google sheet, download your Excel, or take it as a CSV. I highly recommend that you export this Google Search Console data on a regular basis and study it. Now, I have this data already pulled up for y'all, okay? And let me find it here. So, and I'm going to blow up this screen too. So this is the Google Search Console data. I have it pulled once a month for all of my client sites, and I treat Rocks Digital like a client, and I have them pull this data and export it. So you can see here, I've highlighted the phase website redesign, okay? And I actually did a search in Google Search Console. Oh, wait, no, this isn't, I'm sorry. This was my search for SEMrush, okay? So what I've got here, okay, is all the data, and this spreadsheet is sorted by position, and this is actual Google Search Console data. So I went in and I sorted this Google spreadsheet by position, and so I can see the keywords that I'm in the top of search for before. Emoji strategy. I'm number one. I can see how many impressions I got for that page in search over the last 3 months, because this data is 3 months. How many impressions versus the click-through rate versus the average position. So if I was trying to rank for what is integrated marketing, I would be like, okay, nobody actually clicked through to my website. So what is the problem with this page? I'm not trying to rank for this, so I'm not worried about it. But if I was, I would study this. I'd be like, is it a meta description? Is it I'm ranking for something that's really not relevant? Why am I getting this result? Okay. Now, and what I've done is I wanted to go down here and I went to the 10th for your content and you're ranking in search, but you're not ranking necessarily in the top of search results for a phrase. You want to see the things that you're ranking in either the 8th through 12th position. I like to go to like things that are like the 10th position. So I've highlighted this for you. Website link audit. We got 62 impressions. We're in the 10th position, which means that we're most likely on the second page of search results for this phrase. Okay, most of the time. Positions 1 through 10 is usually the first page of search. Sometimes it varies. It depends how many ads Google shows and what they're testing at the time. So we're in the 10th position for website link audit. Now, if this was a phrase that I wanted to rank for, and it was very important to me, that I would look at this page and I would take this specific phrase right here, and I would go into what's SEMrush. Okay. Now we export, and SEMrush does have a free version that y'all can work through. We use the pro version for SEMrush. And so we export all of our SEMrush data for every one of our client sites on a monthly basis. So I'm going to type website link audit in here, and you can see it says 0 of 0. That means that there's no pages according to SEMrush that's ranking for the phrase website link audit. Now I can shorten this and I can just see if it's website link. There's nothing for that. So I'm going to go in here, and this is the example I had for you earlier. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to look for website redesign service. Okay. And so I can see here website redesign service. The average position for Rocks Digital for this phrase in search result is 70. That's the same as whatever previous position was. And I can actually see the page URL that is ranking in search for that specific page through SEMrush. This is quality website revamp. Okay. So that is this page on the Rocks Digital website. Okay. So we are showing in search results for this page in the average of the 70th position. So interesting things that you can also see through SEMrush is where that page was displayed. So this is search features by keyword, SERP features by keyword. So I can see that that page was displayed in the image pack. That's why your image alts and the URL for each one of your images is so very important, and they should also be optimized. We were also seen in the site links. It showed up in reviews. There's question and answer on those specific pages. And so we showed up for people also ask, and we showed up in related searches. And so this is the type of data that you can see from SEMrush. So whenever you're deciding what to write about on your site, okay, or for your clients, you want to go to Google Search Console and you want to look at your average position for those specific phrases in comparison to how many impressions you get. And then you want to use like your SEMrush data and come up with what your topic might be to move the needle to get that page higher in search results. You want to use that data together. Now you can do it, just so you know, if you don't have SEMrush, you don't want get the free version or whatever, you absolutely can just start working with your Google Search Console data to get the information that you need. Okay, and you can see I have a history here in my spreadsheet, so I can go back prior months if I want to focus on a specific topic, and then we hide the pages that get too far back. But I can go in here and I can see history where I was for Google Search Console and where I am now. Okay, so I'm going to change how I have this data sorted in Google Search Console. So your position is very important, but you also want to see your what you're getting the most impressions for. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to sort my spreadsheet. I'm going to say my data has a header row, and then I'm going to click impressions. Now I'm going to click Z to A because I want it to show me the keywords that have most impressions first. Okay. And so now I'm going to scroll back up to the top here, and my spreadsheet is going to show me the pages that we get, the words, the keywords that we get the most impressions for. And remember, I'm looking at Google Search Console data. So for the word emoji, we're actually in the 7th position, and this is how many impressions we got versus our clicks and our click-through. Well, I'm not worried about ranking for emoji, so we're going to disregard that. Okay. Now, website redesign services. Now, and when I saw this, I was like, but I can tell you that I've got 4,356 impressions in search results for this phrase. Remember, I told you my average position earlier. So for this specific phrase, when we pull this data, we were ranking on an average of 85.96 for this specific phrase. So I know, because this is a service that we offer and we really want to rank for, and we have a really bad position. We're talking, we're in like the 9th position in search, 9th page of search results. That's not good. Okay. And we have 0 click-through for it. So we need to write on the topic of website redesign services to show Google that we are more relevant for this query than they have determined that we are. There's a couple of ways that we could do that. We can write a blog post on website redesign, why it's important to get your website redesigned. I could even do a topic similar that I just wrote on. I wrote this topic on questions to ask when hiring an SEO company. I could write a blog post on what to consider when getting your website redesigned or a website redesign. Okay, any of those kind of questions, and I can focus it in that, and that's going to tell Google, hey, Rocks Digital is more relevant for this phrase than I thought they were. And so we're going to move them higher up in search results. Now, writing one piece of content is not going to move the needle. The other thing that I should do for this specific phrase, okay, is we should add more content on this page that integrates that specific keyword phrase. Okay, so we could add another section on here talking about website redesign, how to get started with a website redesign, those type of things to move the needle also. We want to always consider, whenever you're working on your website content, what things can you do to move the needle? Maybe we need to talk a little bit more on the main page that talks about website design, about website redesign. Integrate it in multiple places throughout the website. I could even add on the SEO page, after you've redesigned your website, it's very important to consider your SEO. And then redesigned your website would be a link that I would link on this actual page somewhere to the website redesign page. It's very important whenever you're working on your site that you consider your keywords and every one of your anchor text links. Okay, so this is some data that you want to consider. Now, I know I've covered a lot, and I know I need to wrap up really quickly, and I've really gotten through the main points that I wanted to show y'all. Quickly, I wanted to tell y'all, Google Analytics, UA, okay, that's Universal Analytics, that's actually going away in 17 days. So if you are currently, and by the way, we've already converted Rocks Digital. Google puts this notice on your site no matter what. So even if you've converted, it just tells you that automatically. But if you have not moved from Universal Analytics, which is a part of Google Analytics, and moved your site to GA4, that is something that you want to get on right away. Okay, now I'm going to click no thanks because we've already done that. Okay, and I can show you that we had, but I'm not going to worry about it. So you can go into your Google Analytics in addition to your Google Search Console and using a tool like SEMrush, and you could really look at moving the needle for your site content also. For the sake of time, I don't have time to go into that today. I know I've covered a lot, but I did want to have time to answer your questions. I hope this information has been helpful for you. I know I might have glazed over a little bit with all the information I was sharing, but I really wanted to be there for y'all and share with you how to audit your websites or your client sites. So thank you so much for your time, and I'll pass it back to Lissa for questions.
All right, I think we actually have quite a few questions, and the way that we'll do it, Lisa, we'll do one virtual question, and then we'll do one in-person question, so we make sure we get adequate. So Christina, I thought I saw a bunch of questions in the chat. Go ahead and.
Oh, okay. I thought, what does 1% click-through rate tell you about your site performance?
So it depends on how many impressions you're getting in search and what your average position is. 1%'s not horrible, depending on how many impressions you're getting. So for example, if you're getting, let's just say 500 impressions for that specific keyword phrase, and you have a 1% click-through rate, that's not a bad click-through. You have to consider multiple factors to determine what is good or relevant.
Okay.
Somebody in here. Cindy.
Other platforms that you'd recommend, like we went through today searching your own website for keywords, but other platforms that you would recommend for us to search for specific keywords within our industry so that we could be blogging or sharing those specific terms?
Well, SEMrush is one of the #1 tools that we like to use at Rocks Digital, but you can also you can even look at Google Trends and see what's trending and write your blog topics on that. They're not always relevant to your business, and so we don't use Google Trends as much, but Google Trends is a tool. You can also just go out and literally search for what your business does in search results and see what the suggested searches are. A lot of times, if you start typing your keywords like website design, and it'll come up and it'll start suggesting other phrases. That's a really quick and free way to find topics to write about, because those are actually things Google's searching. People also ask, and I'm going to go ahead and share. Is it okay if I share my screen again so I can show this to them, Lissa?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I just didn't want to share it if I wasn't supposed to. So right here, for example, in search results, I can type in website design, right? And in search results, it's going to show up, you know, here's all like the suggested things, right? And then you have these things that say people also ask, okay? And these are great topics relevant for this keyword phrase to write on, okay? And so that's also a way. If you notice a featured snippet, so at the top, like what is website design? You notice, well, they're not showing, here's like a feature, they moved it to the right for some reason, but here's like what the featured snippet is. I don't know why they're not showing one over here in search, but normally they're right over here. They must be testing something right now, but you can actually write on specific topics related to even featured snippets. I hope that helps answer your question.
Yes, thank you.
All right, Christina, do we have another question?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, how often or what is the best practice for reviewing or revamping a website?
So this audit that I just showed y'all is one of the best places to start. And whenever you build your new website, if you're going to build the new website completely, you want to make sure that your web developer is doing the coding properly. Like, so I showed you how I have 2 H1s on the page. I didn't realize my web developer snuck that in on me. So I'm going to go to them and I'm going to say, hey, I shouldn't have 2 H1s. This needs fixed. This specific heading, this placement, and I'll go into the website and I'll figure out exactly where that first H1, actually, that's really the one I want to get rid of, wherever that is coded at in the site. And I'm going to have them change that to what's paragraph text. So that doesn't tell Google that that's an H1. I would start there.
I'm sorry. I think what the person's asking is how often, or do you do it when a milestone happens or every 6 months, or is there best practice on when to go back and check out your website?
You should periodically check your, whenever you publish a new page, ideally on your site, once you've cleaned up your page titles and your metas and all those kind of things, those pages, ideally, you would not have to go back and fix unless they're just not ranking well. As far as like identifying like your keywords and that kind of content, you want to do that on an ongoing basis. Every time you publish a new piece of content, you want to consider your keyword placement. And then for phrases that are your services you're not ranking for, you want to see what you can do to move the needle to move them up. Now, of course, you can't do that for every page every month on your website, especially if you have a massive website, but you can cycle through them and be like, okay, this month I'm going to focus on website redesign. This month I'm going to focus on SEO or whatever it is, and create a strategy that way to work on your content. As far as revamping the entire site, you definitely want to give your site a thorough audit once a year. And then on a periodic basis, once you know you've got everything cleaned up on a periodic basis, you want to go in and audit for your keyword phrases and make sure you're ranking high enough. And I hope that helps answer the question better.
Thank you.
Yes, Hannah.
I was very surprised by how many websites and pages and internal links that you had. I personally have a very small website. Would you say that having more internal links and websites and like hidden pages are better for your SEO? I've heard that having too many will scare people away from the website.
So you don't want to overkill. My policy on my internal links is I like to have 3 links beyond the CTA. So within the first paragraph, either within the first or second sentence on a keyword-rich anchor text link to another service. Then about halfway down the page, I like to link to a blog post that's relevant to that specific page or query. And then a little bit further down, almost towards the bottom, I like to link to another service, because you want to take your website visitors and you want them to have a great experience. You want to link them to your corresponding services for that specific topic, and even to something like a blog post to give them more information. And even with our blog post, we follow that same process. Within the first or second sentence, we link to a service page. Further down the page, we link to another blog post, and then at the bottom we link to another service page. And then we always close out with that closing CTA, which is our phone number, and they can like a form to fill out to request something like a demo or a product or whatever it is, or download.
Good, Hannah. Awesome. Christina.
What are impressions? Where do they come from and why are they important?
So impressions are how many times a specific page on a website is displayed in search results. And they are important because if you have a page and you're not getting any impressions, that means Google is not showing it in search results at all. And so the odds of people actually finding it through what's called an organic search, where they search for like a specific keyword phrase, is 0 to none. So the more impressions you have, the better off that you are.
Awesome. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Is that only on LinkedIn impression? Because I haven't seen that anywhere else.
Can you say that again?
Is the impressions only on LinkedIn? Because I was just curious to say I haven't seen that anywhere else. So I was just wondering.
Oh no, impressions are from Google Search Console.
Okay, so see, I'm on a whole different impression. So I appreciate that clarification.
No problem.
Any more questions, Christina?
Oh, yes. Yes. How does website accessibility come into play for avoiding litigation?
It's actually very important. I actually was just thinking about it the other day and thinking I need to put an accessibility plugin on my site. It's very important, especially more and more so when you have a big business. There's a browser extension if you're, a WordPress plugin if your site is WordPress that you can install, and it's free. They do have some paid options, but I always use the free version even on my client sites. It's by userway.org, and it'll even let you customize the color codes and that kind of thing to your client's site. And it'll even auto-generate an accessibility statement for you to add to the site too. So yeah, it's very important, extremely.
Any more questions in here? Yes, ma'am.
So I have a beginning website that's just one page. It's basically a landing page as I'm building my business, and I'm using Squarespace to build it. So I would love some clarity on H1, H2, H3. Am I assigning those? Is Google deciding what on my web page is an H1 and H2? I'm not clear on that.
So you actually assign those on the page when you're uploading the content. Now, we don't work in Squarespace. So actually anybody that comes to me and has a Squarespace, while it's a great solution when you're getting started, we don't take clients that are in Squarespace. We move them to WordPress because you have a ton more control. But you actually can assign in Squarespace. I can't tell exactly how you could do it, but you could, in WordPress, you can actually highlight the phrase, and then there's like a drop-down selector that you can actually select and make it like an H1 or an H2. But you do actually apply that yourself on your website content.
Thank you. All right, let's take one more online question.
Okay, great, because we do have a lot of questions about Google Analytics 4. How do we know if we are migrated to Google Analytics 4? I don't get the pop-up on analytics.google.com. Let's see what else. Yeah, and how do we move our website to Google Analytics 4?
So you actually, and I'm going to share my screen again for a second here. So for me, how I can tell that I'm in Google Analytics 4 is because I had my team set it up. But when you're in your Google Analytics, so right in your Google Analytics, you can see GA4. And that's how I know I'm actually moved to GA4. So if you suspect yours has already moved, you would see something that said GA4 within your Google Analytics. And if it's not, then you'll want to start the migration assistant. And I have to tell you, honestly, it can be tricky to set it up. There's a lot of special parameters and filters and all sorts of things that you have to do to make sure you're bringing your right data into GA4. And so just something to consider. I went ahead and shared my screen so you could kind of see what the GA4 looked like. But they don't give you as good a data, unfortunately, but that is something as time GA4 will get better, and we'll all adapt and learn how to use it better ourselves.
Awesome. Any last minute questions in here? All right. Thank you so much, Lissa. That was definitely very interesting and integral, and
I hope I didn't overwhelm y'all. I just really wanted y'all to get a feel for how to get started. And it's a lot of data. So I recommend that you start with Google Search Console and get that access and just start digging into that data. And it's super fun, and you can really get some insights to move your website forward. And thank y'all so much for your time. I always love talking to y'all. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Lissa. Just real quick, do you want to mention Social Media Day?
So June 30th of every year is Social Media Day. I actually started a conference in 2012 where we actually celebrate Social Media Day every year. Believe it or not, you're going to be so surprised when I tell you this, Tracy, but I actually postponed the conference this year.
Okay, I saw the virtual part. It was going to be virtual.
It was going to be virtual. My agency has been so busy that I was like, you know what? I just have to prioritize. And I'm sure all of y'all know, as entrepreneurs and business owners, sometimes you have to prioritize. I do plan, but I haven't even finalized that yet. I've always kind of planned on having kind of an in-person happy hour in Addison for those that are kind of local that just kind of want to join us on Social Media Day, because since that's where I started in the industry in 2009, I definitely feel like I have to give it its time and attention and honor it the same as I have in the past. I can't do the conference this year. I'm thinking about doing it maybe in the fall.